Imagine a place where the air itself seems to whisper of agony, where the walls echo with the cries of the damned, and the shadows dance with a life of their own. Deep in the south lies such a place, a relic from the Industrial Revolution that has become a breeding ground for terror and torment. Welcome to Sloss Furnaces, a once thriving iron foundry that now stands as a monument to human suffering and the paranormal forces that feed off it. Here, the spirits of the past are more than just memories. They are restless souls, trapped between worlds, driven by the torment they endured in life. The heat of the furnaces may have cooled long ago, but the fires, hot as hell, still burn brightly within these crumbling walls. Those who enter speak of ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and a malevolent presence that seems to watch from the shadows, waiting for the next victim to claim. As you step into this cursed site, know that you are not alone. The spirits of Sloss Furnaces are always watching, their twisted forms lurking just beyond the veil, eager to share their tale of horror with anyone brave or foolish enough to listen. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host Allie, and today we're traveling south to take a peek in the haunted Sloss Furnaces. When you think of a haunted place, Alabama might not be the first to come to mind, but the heart of Dixie is a real hotbed of paranormal activity. Often referred to as the most haunted location in Alabama, the Sloss Furnaces are located in the city of Birmingham. Birmingham was founded on June 1st, 1871, named after one of the principal industrial cities in England, something that its founders wanted to replicate. Fortunately, the city was located near deposits of coal, iron ore, and limestones, the three prime materials used to make steel, thus earning Birmingham the nickname the Magic City. Just 10 years after it was founded, just on the outskirts of the city, Sloss Furnaces was built. Its founder, Colonel James Withers Sloss, capitalized on the fortuitous location of the city and in a large pool of cheap labor through the use of newly freed slaves. He became the first president of the newly merged Nashville and Decatur Railway Company, and immediately expanded their railway lines to Birmingham to make the exportation of steel made at Sloss Furnaces cheaper and faster. At 60 feet high and 18 feet in diameter, Sloss's new Whitewell stoves were the first of their type ever built in Birmingham, and were comparable to similar equipment used in the North. Local observers were proud that much of the machinery used by Sloss's new furnaces would be of Southern manufacture. This had been right after the Civil War, so anything that the South could do to make themselves feel a little bit better, it would be celebrated quite a bit. It included 2 blowing engines and 10 boilers, 30 feet long and 46 inches in diameter. In April 1882, the furnaces were started up, and after its first year of operations, the furnace had sold 24,000 tons of iron. At the 1883 Louisville Exposition, the company won a bronze medal for Best Pig Iron. Pig iron is also known as crude iron, an intermediate good used in the production of steel. It got its name because back in ye olden days, hot metal was cast into ingots, and when their molds were laid out in the sand beds, they resembled a litter of suckling pigs. So the ingots started being called pigs, the runner the sow, and the iron from the blast furnace pig iron. After that, you go into cast iron, and I can't remember what the purest form of iron was. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not made out of pigs. It's just what it looks like when it comes out from the furnaces. And the iron was of high quality that they were getting. But the working conditions? Absolutely horrible. Perhaps the worst of Sloss came out in how the workers were treated. Sloss Furnace employed hundreds of men in the area for their highly dangerous positions. The hours were long and the pay was low, if not even real money. They used to use bits of fake money called clackers that the workers would be able to trade in for actual goods, but they weren't actually being paid anything of monetary value outside of Sloss Furnaces. But what was worse than the low pay was the industrial accidents that were a constant threat to the workers. It was common for one of the men to fall into the molten steel and be incinerated, be scalded by a pipe bursting violently, or silently poisoned by carbon monoxide. The walkways were a fall hazard, the furnaces explosive, the heat comparable to hell itself at 150 degrees in the summer months. One incident that the Travel Channel loves to bring up in every single one of its shows that go to the Sloss Furnaces is the tale of one man who was dragged into the flywheels that powered one of the massive boilers during lunch. His co-workers were only able to watch and listen as his bones crunched and his body popped from between the gears. They weren't able to stop it. These things don't stop on a dime, and it took forever to get them to shut down, so there was no sense in stopping it. If the machines didn't kill you, there was also the chance that one of the night shift chiefs might. James Wormwood. James Wormwood was the worst chief at the furnaces, with 47 men dying under his watch. Many had gotten injured so badly they weren't able to work anymore, and in one instance, an explosion blinded 6 of his men. It was so bad working under him that Wormwood got the nickname Slag. Legend says that the reason for his abuse was in order to force his men to speed up production to impress the bosses. The cost of a man's life was no concern for him. Some Sloss workers even drummed up a saying for just how bad the conditions were there. It went, "Kill a man, hire another one. Kill a mule, buy another one. And you don't kill a mule. They cost $25. Fortunately, tragically, Wormwood died in October 1906 when he fell into a bath full of melted iron from the top of the highest furnace.
Oh no! Anyway.
Some people say he was pushed, but that doesn't matter since his death certificate had him dying from an accident. So sad. After Wormwood's death, it was believed that his ghost roamed about the furnaces, with many workers claiming to have been pushed near the iron baths while alone. At night, workers would hear the haunting echoes of, "Go back to work," drift through the furnaces. While the treatment of workers didn't seem to matter much in the 1950s and 1960s, the Birmingham area had been suffering from severe air pollution problems caused by the iron and steel industry. Eventually, federal legislation like the U.S. Clean Air Act caused many older and out-of-date smelting works to close. By the 1960s, higher-yielding brown ores had been found in other regions to feed blast furnaces. This, combined with legislation, led to the closure of the Sloss Furnaces. And it was around this time that one of the creepier things happened. In 1971, night shift chief Samuel Blumenthal made one last sentimental round through the furnaces. The plant was closing, and this would be the last he'd see of the massive boilers. Suddenly, he found himself face to face with the demonic face of a monster that tried to push Blumenthal towards the furnace known as Big Alice, the same area where Wormwood was killed. Blumenthal began fighting the creature off of him, capable of keeping up with the monster until he was found by co-workers covered in third-degree burns, despite everything having been turned off. He died only a few days later from his injuries. Sloss Furnaces was donated to the Alabama State Fair Authority to be developed as a museum. The authority viewed that redeveloping the site so that it could be safe was not feasible, and planned to demolish it. But after local preservationists formed the Sloss Furnaces Association to lobby for the site to be preserved, it was documented for the Historic American Engineering Record in 1976 and secured a preservation bond of $3.3 million. So in the end, it did become a museum, with plenty of tours, field trips, virtual tours, and history nights taking place on the property. It's also used as a workplace for artists who work with iron, as well as a concert venue and a place where festivals are held on the premises. Even a few weddings have taken place there. I don't know why, but yeah, you could do it. Why not? Despite all of these visits and happy goings, people to this day still report having spooky happenings. Folks have reported all kinds of terrifying events happening around the Sloss Furnaces. Some say they've heard voices, the sound of footsteps, the clanging of heavy metal chains against the furnaces, rapidly dropping temperatures around certain areas, and some have said they've seen shadowy or glowing figures following them in the dark. A few have even reported being gently pushed or shoved by an unknown force. Considering how many had fallen, it's no wonder that perhaps a spirit or two would want it to happen to someone else. Maybe they just want some company. These experiences have attracted ghost hunters from all over the country. Several well-known shows about ghost hunting, namely Ghost Adventures and Ghost Asylum, have actually gone inside of Sloss and claim to have recorded some of the mysterious figures and unexplained sounds. Of course, ghost hunters decided the best way to get that stuff to happen was to yell and insult the spirits until they were pissed off enough to smack someone upside the head. Also in that same episode, they interviewed a guy named Bill Tolley, who is the lead investigator and founder of the Paranormal Investigations of Mysterious Phenomena Squad, PIMPS. And you know, he thought he was goddamn clever when he came up with that. For Ghost Asylum, well, I mean, they had some interesting phrases on down there in the South, and they love using EVPs for evidence. For me, I can never understand what the EVPs are actually picking up, even with the subtitles on, so I have a hard time believing them. Also, that apparatus they built to trap some spirits, I have a love-hate relationship with ghost shows, and we'll leave it at that. But what do you think? Would you take a ghost hunting trip through Sloss Furnaces? Do you agree that it's the most haunted location in Alabama? What's the most haunted location in your state? And if you're not from the States, how about the most haunted location where you are from? Let me know in the comments. I love going ghost hunting, so talking about haunted locations is just peak for me. I also just so happen to love reading your comments, so it's a win-win. If you like learning about the unknown wonders and spooky weirdos of the world, why not like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you know when I post. To that note, thank you to everyone who has been watching these videos. You guys are seriously amazing, and I am so very thankful for you. And thank you to my good buddies over on my Patreon, especially our VIP camper. You guys are the best. Well, until next time, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!